Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise it's just information.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like any sort of learning, it's just like, it's not, I think there's learning and then there's applied, there's the application of learning, and so there's more of an ability to apply the learning experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did your teacher preparation program offer you that the museum internship did not?
I think that the classroom management was way more in depth,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously more tailored towards the classroom setting.
Mm-hmm.
I feel a little bit like my brain has turned off in some ways about some of these things.
That's okay.
It's like an avalanche of information, and then you like take a break and you're like, whew. I'm trying to think about some of my classes.
No, that's okay. It's a great answer. What did your internship offer you that your teacher preparation program did not?
I know it sounds really like not academic or intellectual, but my gut answer is heart. It didn't have the heart. But
tell me more about what you mean by that.
Well, I mean, when you're in a classroom setting, and I don't even think that it necessarily has to do with being online.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in a classroom setting, talking about things is very different from when you're like, I'm debriefing with you about a tour that we just had about a group of kids. Like, I already have like an emotional connection and tie in some way to that group of children or that class, or some sort of reaction that I have going on. That makes it so much more personal to, as opposed to like talking about things in theory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, when you're like reading through like invented scenarios for how to prepare for something, it's not really the same as it's not the same as if you're experiencing different skill levels within an actual group.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, we did have some orientation training.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that lady who came in and talked about middle schoolers.
Mm-hmm.
When I first went in on like my first week of my student teaching, I was really worried.
Yeah.
that I had done things. Because in a museum setting, you know, like you gather everybody together and you break into groups and you do this switching. There are no bells. There's just like the different interpreting together to shift at the right time, things like that. And, you know, like, we didn't really have to deal as much with like, are you going to the bathroom? But the bathroom was right there.
Right.
You know, like all these things, like when I got into my student teaching, it was like, oh, there's a bell system and we're yelling at them for running in the hallways. And you're late. And like to a certain extent, you know, you don't want, as I spent more time in the classroom, like obviously it is really annoying if you have a child who is late. Like that. But it's so regimented, there's so much socialization going on in that space.
Right.
That we didn't have to worry about in the museum setting. I was really worried that I had done the wrong thing. But I do think that as I spent more time in the classroom, those things became more of like things on the periphery and not as much at the center of my attention. Like they were really stood out when I first was there. But, when you spend more time with your class, it really is more about, you get to know these students, and it becomes more about the students. And so I think in that way I was like, okay, yeah, it is okay. It is going to be okay. Like, I can do this.
Yeah.
But the institutionalization of education is really something that still makes me feel a little uncomfortable, coming from that more informal background. And even like I said to you at the very beginning, like, in terms of like teachers' outlook and perspective, it's very much like within this institution